Good evening, viewers. You're welcome to the Daily Focus. My name is Joseph Kofi. Tonight, we'll be discussing the release of the WAEC results and Martin Amidu's resignation, matters arising. I have in the house Ubuntu SHS and Samuel Kofi. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Ubuntu, it's been a while.
Yes. We have just about 2 weeks to the D-Day, so
Yeah.
up and downs here. So it's good to be here today.
Okay. Mr. Samuel,
Hello.
how is it going?
As Mr. King said, we have 15 days more to the election. We want to be focused. We have to make sure that the ground is well fertile for us. So if you've not seen me here for some time, you're on the ground. As Dominic Avia says, the job day ground. So you've been on the ground work.
Okay, so we are going straight to today's agenda, and we are looking at the release of SHS WAEC results. And Sir Ekins, as an educationist, I would like to go into detail. We see the statistics from the previous years and this current year. We call them Akufo-Addo's SHS students or Akufo-Addo's free SHS students. So, how's their performance?
Okay, let me use this opportunity to say a very good evening to your viewers out there. And let me also say a good evening to my parliamentary candidate for Wim constituency in a person of Honorable Lawrence Kwame Aziade, and the President of the nation, wherever he is. I say a very big good evening to him. So far, the results are released, and in the history of Ghana's secondary school education, when I say in the history of the secondary school education, I'm talking about the recent years.
Okay.
This year's results happens to be one of the best, if not the best, in the past 10 years or more. I'm saying it happens to be one of the best because when the free SHS started, people were somehow not convinced, especially parents, because the current opposition party made them to believe that it's going to be a flop.
Okay.
Some of us into the education sector also have some kind of reservations so far as the way the system is going to run, especially when the government introduced the double track system.
Yeah.
But after some of us sat down and analyzed the whole thing, we realized that it's an innovation.
Okay.
So we expect the results that has been released by WAEC to be better than probably the previous years that we've seen in this country.
Okay.
This year's results, let's look at the core subjects, because these are subjects that every child that completed the SHS this year wrote. English, for instance, 57.2 students passed English. When I say passed, I mean from grade A to C6.
Okay.
And with the system we run in Ghana, if you have from A to C6, you qualify to be in any university in Ghana. So 57.2 kids who completed SHS this year passed in English, as in they had from A to C6 in English. So they qualified to be in the university. 52.3 qualified in terms of science, they passed science. 67.6 passed mathematics, and 64.4 passed in social studies. Let's do some kind of comparisons here. This year's students happened to be the first product of the free SHS.
Yeah.
So we are good to compare to when free SHS was introduced and when we had no free SHS.
Okay.
Let's go back to 2015. The former government or the former administration, John Mahama's administration, admitted students in 2013 as a substantive president or as an elected president. He admitted students in September 2013, and these students completed July 2015. Now, these students that completed in 2015, English, 51.2 students passed English from A1, A to C6. 33.2 passed mathematics. 54.6 passed social studies. And 43.6 students passed science. What it means is that 2015, about 60 students, 60% SHS students that completed WASI in 2015 wouldn't or were not able to go to the tertiary institution, because about 60% of them failed in English alone. No, about 60% of them failed in science. And you know, the requisite qualification to go to any tertiary institution in this country is you need to get at least, you need to get between A to C6 in either in English, Maths, and Science.
Okay.
So if about 60% failed science in 2015, what it means is that 60% of WASI students were not able to make it to the tertiary institutions, as well as mathematics. And you know, I've always been saying that I'm maths biased because that's my background. And a cooking percentage of about 70% is about 68%. So roughly 70% students in 2015 couldn't pass mathematics. They couldn't get between A to C6 in 2015. But what are we seeing recently in terms of the free SHS? Let's do this analysis. In 2015, 268,812 students sat for WASI in 2015. In 2020, this year, 375,763 sat for WASI. So one, the difference between those who sat for WASI in 2015, I mean those who were admitted by former President John Mahama from 2013 to 2015, that passed out in 2015, and those who were admitted by the current President Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, the difference between these two is 106,000. So what it means is that the free SHS has given the opportunity to at least 106,000 extra students to get to school.
Okay, is there any hope that all these people will be able to get admission to university?
My brother, I'm coming there.
Okay.
There is hope. There is hope because they all qualify to be in the university.
Okay.
That is why. They all qualify to be in the university. But let me finish with what I was saying. 106,000 extra students as compared to 2015 ends up completing secondary school this year. What it means is that the free SHS has given the opportunity for access. It has also given the opportunity for increase in logistics supply. And it has also given the opportunity for whosoever completes JHS to go to school. Let me tell you something. In 2015, you only qualified to go to secondary school if you had a grade, or if you have a grade between grade 6 to grade 30. Any child that gets beyond grade 30 is classified as a child that has failed. In 2017, any child that sat for BEC and gets between grade 6 to grade 53 qualifies to be in any secondary school in
Wouldn't
Ghana.
that encourage them not to learn whilst in school?
My brother, we didn't enjoy free SHS. Our time, people were failing. You know, in growth, we have something we call formative formation.
Okay.
We have people who grow to become better, and we have people who grow to become worse. If you are a parent and you see your child, or you sit, relax and watch your child not learning, with the hope that no matter the results I get, I will end up in secondary school. As a parent, it means you failed.
Okay.
So it's the duty of the parents to encourage their kids to do what? Sit at home, learn. Let me tell you something. A child got grade 31, at grade 31, got admission at the Compresec to offer a Greek. This year's results came and that child had grade 10 in the WASI results at grade 10. I hear people saying university will justify the means. My brother, if I'm able to see, I always say that one of the easiest level of education in our educational life is the university education.
Okay.
Because with the university education, whatever you do within the semester, you are assessed on it, and almost that is the end of it.
Okay.
But with secondary and basic education, whatever you do from SHS 1, you have the opportunity to account for it at the end of your 3 years.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that the free, you see, in 2015, when the academic year was about to begin, Conference of Heads of Assisted Schools in the Northern region delayed reopening of schools for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Do you know why? The government refused to supply them with the various subventions that they needed to get before starting the academic year.
Okay.
Since the free SHS started, I don't know whether you've heard of any school not being supplied with the various materials they need to start the academic year. It's not happening. Why? Because we even have the national buffer stock. Master, before school will resume, the food stuffs, whatever they need, is supplied. You see, it's time with these results. Earlier, as I said, some of us had some reservations so far as the way the free SHS was being implemented. But with these results, it tells some of us clearly that we have the opportunity to make Ghana better by developing the human resource capacity.
Okay.
And one of the surest way is giving equal opportunity to every Ghanaian child to go to school.
I'll come back to you. But let's hear from Sami if he's also having something to say about the results. Viewers, this is the Daily Focus. My name is Joseph Kofi. I have in the house Samuel Kofi Ebo and Bonto Say Ekins. We are discussing the WAEC results and then Martin Amidu's resignation and matters arising. Honorable Sami, do you have something to say about the WAEC results released recently?
Before I say anything, let me send special greetings to the able and indefatigable MP, the Deputy Minister for Health, Honorable Dr. Bernard Okoboy. You know, he's brought a new level of leadership. He's brought a new dynamic in politics in the Dekuku. The Dekuku hasn't had an MP such as Dr. Bernard Okoboy. And that is where, wherever he passes, you see that there's a new song for him, or the people are chanting for his second term. So wherever he is, I want to send special greetings to him.
Okay.
Having greeted the MP, I also like to greet the Municipal Chief Executive in the person of the Honorable Evelyn. Now, I did it. The work she's done as the representative of the president, coupled with what the MP has done in just 4 years, makes it clear that the people of Teshi will not be ungrateful enough not to endorse the president and then the honorable MP. Okay. Yes, I also like to greet your cherished viewers and all constituency executives of Bejukuku. Okay. Before we even dilate, I pass my comment on the subject. I'd like to tell every graduate in Bejukuku that the MP who thinks about them, the MP who cares about them, their own beloved son, Dr. Bernard Kuboy, has brought a nice initiative, which is check your results for free. Okay. So all SHS graduates who have completed and are yet to check their results should just contact 0245 44 9205 and they will have their results being checked. Or you can walk to the MPP office. Viewers should pardon me. Or you can walk to the MPP office and get your results being checked. Mr. Etu Bonto has an ethos on the subject. He's brought us the various statistics on the subject. And I think that seeing these statistics, you can be marveled and give thanks to the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, for bringing such a nice policy. Many were the naysayers, but at the end of the day, the results has proven them wrong. I do not have ethos on the subject, so I do not want to dilate much, but to thank the people of Ghana for embracing such a policy, the children also having to attend and not disgrace the president. The results, records, or data do not lie, and they are shown as in the submission.
Okay. All right, so we'll be moving straight to the second agenda for today. That is the special prosecutor, Honorable Martin Amidu's resignation and matters arising. People said he wasted state money. Others said it disgraced the current government. And some also said he needs to be arrested for wasting state money. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Ubuntu?
Before I come to Martin Amidu's issue, let me conclude on what I was saying when you came in.
Okay.
As we speak now, cumulatively, I mean, when you put the 4 core subjects together in terms of percentage, in 2015, 46% out of the 400, 46% passed or qualified to go to the university in 2015 per the data released by WAEC. And as we speak now, per the data released by WAEC, 60% qualifies to go to any tertiary institution in this country. So all I would say is that thank you to Mr. President, thank you to Dr. Educhum, Dr. Uprembe, Professor Opukwa, for thinking outside the box when people felt like we do not have spaces in our various secondary schools to admit almost every child that completes JHS. They've been able to think outside the box. They've been able to be that innovative enough to bring in a double track system to absorb almost every Ghanaian child that completes the JHS. Now let me come to Martin Amidu's issue. I don't even want us to waste time talking about somebody who resigns from his position. You have been employed, let me put it that way, to do a job for this country. You have the right to accept or decline. You were able to accept it. You wasted, excuse my language, you wasted our time for 2 good years, 2018 till date. You wasted our time for what I would say, for nothing. So if Martin Amidu has resigned, he's not really competent person in the country that can occupy that position. There are in fact better people who qualifies in a better way to handle that position and deal with the situation. Because when I saw the resignation, in fact I was quite worried that why should the president do this? And
some are saying that the president should resign because
and then when I got the response, after I went through the response, I realized that if I have my own way, if I'm the president of this country, for somebody to do this, I'll just call for his arrest. I don't care even if it costs my re-election. This man has wasted our time. I don't even want us to go into those figures because I know my brother here will be going into it. But my brother, if you were given the opportunity, or you've been given the opportunity to employ 249 Ghanaians to work in the office, with all the requisite funds released to you, and you look into the face of Ghanaians and stay for 2 years without employing them, if that is not wickedness, how else should we describe this? So I don't want to go there, and I don't want to waste my time talking about it. There are better policies that we should waste our time, we should use our time to talk about than talking about somebody who just came to waste the whole of Ghanaians, the whole of Ghana's time for his parochial interests.
Okay, so Sami, I can see that no smart is disturbing.
Yes, unless you assure me that this place has been disinfected, then I can take it off. But until then, like the president cautioned us, we want to be in it at all times.
Okay, so what do you have to say about Martin Amidu's resignation?
First of all, I must say, I was not surprised seeing Martin Amidu resigning.
Okay.
And with all due respect to him, he's a learned lawyer, he's a mature person. I would not want to say something harsh on him. He's now a former special prosecutor. But then, that leads me to things that happened in the past, what the NDC, some of them said about him. In fact, his own, the party he comes from, said about him when he was appointed. And if you could remember, Sami Jafi mentioned the character of Martin Amidu. He pointed 6 characters of Martin Amidu. And one is that he is inconsistent. Martin Amidu is not consistent. He also said that Martin Amidu is a bitter man. I don't know if you've heard that in the interview.
Yes.
He's a bitter man. He also sought to suggest that Martin Amidu even lied in an affidavit about former president. Granted, these are all true. And look at how the former president John Dramani Mahama described him, his report on Ijapa, stupid. Granted, and I'm choosing my words carefully, these are how the political party he came from have described him. That he's inconsistent, he's a bitter man, he did a report, he wrote a section on the report from Ijapa on Airbus, they called him stupid and a whole lot of sort of names. Granted that all these things are true, then we clearly have to know who Martin Amidu is. What is his basis of resigning? That is the subject I want to talk about. Ghanaians know who he is and how his own political party, which he came from, has described him. So Ghanaians know the character Martin Amidu. But to suggest that the President of the Republic of Ghana is interfering with the work of a special prosecutor is very serious. And that is where I want our focus to go on this conversation. what is it about, what did the president do that resulted into interference, for which reason Martin A.B.K. Amidu thinks that the president is interfering in the matter. And what is the president's interest in the subject, for which reason he would even interfere in the first place? One, it was conducting a risk assessment on the Japan deal.
Okay.
In fact, I have read through the entire 1992 Constitution. I've never seen anywhere that permits us to do risk assessment of a certain report. Do you know what it means? Corruption is corruption, not corruption is corruption. Martin Amidu said he is checking whether the Japan deal will have ingredients that the corruption will be high or corruption will be low. I don't understand it. Corruption is corruption, not corruption is not corruption.
It's corruption.
Yeah, it's not necessary to check if the corruption, the ingredient in that particular transaction would make the corruption high, or you sense corruption in it, or you won't sense corruption in it. It is not necessary.
Yeah.
What is necessary is there corruption in? How do you tell me that, okay, because I've seen A, B, and C, it may lead to higher corruption, or it may lead to lower, checking the risk of, I've never seen it anywhere in the 1992 Constitution. Okay. If you have, you can help me. So in the first place, my position is that the Constitution doesn't even permit him, but let's go on. He's a special prosecutor, so that nobody interferes in his report or what the investigation he wishes to conduct. But before he began the report or the investigation, the president said, suspend the Japan deal, hold on until he's done with his report. The president didn't ask Martin Amidu to go and investigate anything. He didn't sanction him to do any work. The president didn't force Martin Amidu to come and give him the report. When he was done with the report, he carried it, sent it to the president that out of courtesy, Mr. President, I'm giving you this report. And this report should guide your executive and legislative decisions going forward.
Okay.
And it should also help reduce corruption. And you gave it to the president.
Okay.
Without the president asking for the report. When the president received the report, and you must know that Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the president of the republic, is also an astute lawyer. So he understands some of these things.
Yeah.
Then he invited you, Martin Amidu, to his office and asked you, Martin, I have seen your report. In fact, I have read it. Is it what the Minister of Finance is doing? No, I'm surprised. Is that what the Deputy Minister of Finance is doing? I didn't know. So I am presuming the president was shocked when he read the report.
Okay.
And then he asked Martin Amidu one question. That have you given them the opportunity to respond or to comment on your findings and your conclusion? And I mean, just a basic law student to know that all the authoritarian parties, you must hear from both sides. You can't just come. And you see, you are conducting an investigation on a report that even includes the parliament, because parliament has passed the bill. You didn't even speak to the chair of the finance committee.
Okay.
You didn't speak to anybody. You sit somewhere and conduct your own report. Then the president asks you, have you given them the opportunity to comment on your findings and conclusions? Martin Amidu answered that no. Then the president said, Martin, you are a lawyer. That's not what the president is saying, but I presume that you are. Martin, you are a lawyer. At least you must hear from both sides before, because especially when you are giving me a report, that should guide my future legislative decisions and executive decisions. And you have not asked them of their opinion or comment on the report. So Martin, go and get their comment on it. He answered in the affirmative. And he even stated in his letter that he did so, but he knew that he was not going to do that. That's fine. The president went ahead and gave the report to his minister. He also wrote his comment and gave it back to the president. Then the president calls you again. Martin, this is their comment on it. So take it and add it to your report. So that subsequently, as you have said, it should guide my decisions going forward. Martin refused to take the comment and said that the president was interfering in his, constitutional...
Is it because of how they handled him from the beginning?
Well, you see, he is a special prosecutor. He's independent. So, yes, he must do his independent way. But the tenet of administrative justice, you cannot do without the authoritarian patterns, which is give both sides the opportunity to talk. So, candor, reasonableness, and fairness, if it should be an ingredient to add into your report, and you do not do it, and an opportunity is given, that go and do it, cannot be a basis of saying that the president is interfering with your work, for which reason you will resign.
Okay. All right, viewers, this is the Daily Focus. My name is Joseph Kofi. I have in the house Bonto Ekins and Samuel Kofi Yeboah, who is an NPP communication member, and Bonto, who is also educationist and politicians. I happen to have two strong NPP men in the house today, and things are moving onward. Okay, so your last word before we draw curtains to today's. I'll come back to you, sorry. Yeah.
My brother, let me add something to what my
yes,
brother
so that's
said.
your last word for that.
In fact, he has tried giving us the genesis of this whole thing.
Yeah.
But let me see, and let me reaffirm what I said. I said, let's not waste time talking about Martin Amidu, because he has resigned.
Yeah.
Because when you go through whatever transpired between 2018, after he's been appointed as a special prosecutor, and the date he resigned, as a Ghanaian, you get angry. You've been given huge sums of money. And you see, I don't blame Martin Amidu per se. I partly blame the president. Looking at the whole thing, I think Martin Amidu has been overpampered. Because the monies he has been given, I don't think ministries' budget, they don't give them those. You request for, let's say, 360 million. And then Parliament approves 188 million. Then right from the beginning, after it's been approved, you are giving about 60 million of that money to start up. Even education ministry that spends much. How much are they giving at the beginning of the year? You see, so the president, to some extent, has overpampered the special prosecutor. But I also understand the president, because the passion to fight corruption is high. So far as the president is concerned, he has so much passion to fight corruption. So Martin, whatever you need to fight corruption in this country, I'll make it available for you to be able to fight corruption. And this is what has happened. So when
it's not being paid by a controller.
You see, my brother, and I'm not a law student, neither am I a lawyer. But you see, he requested that he doesn't want himself and that of the staff salaries to pass through what? The controller. Therefore, he should be treated special. So he should be given his money. He will do the disbursement. And you see, he requested for, I think, 36 million or so as monies to be used as salaries or compensation in a year. My brother, if you divide that money by even the 249 staff, assuming that he has even employed all these 249, averagely each person is taking over 12,000 a month. 249, the money he requested as compensation for a year for the workers. I'm talking about the 249. Meaning he's spending an average of 12,000 on each employee. And out of these 249, you employ 2. And my brother, look at the number of graduates on the streets. The government is doing everything possible to take them out of the street by introducing so many interventions just to bring them out. And you also have the opportunity to employ over 240 Ghanaians. Those who went to the university to do forensic science and all these people, they are on the street. Employ 249 of them. You've been giving the money and you just leave the money in the account. You see, let's not waste time talking about let's not cry over spilt milk. It's gone. Let's concentrate on how to win the 2020 election. That's for the 2020 election we are winning. But let's win with a bigger margin.
Information Minister Kojo Okonkuma recently said we shouldn't say we are winning.
He's right to say that. And even today, I wrote an article on that.
No. The Information Minister, I don't think he said that. He said we shouldn't be complacent.
Complacent.
Yes, but he didn't say because we are winning. We can say that. But having said that, we shouldn't be complacent that we have won. Because if we assume that position, then it means we will not work again. Okay. So the winning mentality can be in mind, but we have to work towards it.
And I'm sure you were saying that as a caution to what happened in 2008. 2008, everything shows that MPP was winning the election, but people became complacent. Oh, if I don't go and vote, my one vote will cost the party. But don't forget out there that as you are deciding not to go and vote, because others there are there to go and vote, those others are also there thinking not going out to vote because they are expecting that you will also go and vote. So all that I will tell your viewers out there, I know probably this may be the last time I'll be on the show till the elections are over. Let's go out there and consolidate the gains of this government. Let's go out there and show appreciation. My brother, you see, maybe I think one day you need to make time. Let's talk about some of the experiences some of us had when we were in secondary school. And let's compare it to how some people are being pampered just to stay in class and learn. That is when you get. You see, our time, you will be on the day of exam. You have teachers at the entrance of our assembly hall, sacking people, denying them from writing an exam. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk to a lady who completed SHS in 2015. Orally senior. As I'm talking to you now, her results is still withheld. Why? Because she owes school fees. Let's go out there. Let's vote for number 1. Let's vote for Nana Abudankwa Ekufuado and all the NPP parliamentary candidates out there. Let's consolidate the gains of this country. Thank you.
Sammy, your last word.
Yes, like I was saying, for me, I'm not really interested in talking about Martin Amidu, but I'm interested to clarify the issue on the president interfering with Martin Amidu's work. It is not true, it can never be true. The president you know, the president I know, the president we all know is not interested in interfering with people's work. He's interested in empowering institutions for institutions to work. If he's interested in interfering in the work, I'm not sure you ask Parliament to go and sit down and look at the bill again if he's really interested in the work. So it is not true as Martin Amidu suggested. And I want Ghanaians to know who Martin Amidu is according to what Sami Demfi said and how the former president described him. Even though I don't share that view, he comes from that same political party and maybe the assessment about him can be true. Having said that, God in his own wisdom knows why when he called that the ballot papers should be picked, or when the EC called that the ballot papers should be picked, he made the arrangement so. I believe that in his own wisdom, he knows that. There are so many things on the ballot paper. There is cancellation of free SHS on the ballot paper. There is a continuation of free SHS on the ballot paper. there's a continuation of one district,